Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, as you can see on the screen here, we've got a sort of animated hero section for you. We've got a little call to action that slides in and out, people can click on it. And we've got an image of a young lady that fades in over that background image there. And that's a great eye-catching thing to have on your site, as well as being interactive. We've got to do a bit of coding for this today, but don't let that put you off. Any coding that I do, I'll put down below the video as usual. You're welcome to copy and paste it if you need to. Okay, well, let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder so we can build on the front end. Once loaded, I'm going to go down to where we want to work. I'm going to add a new section. It's a blue button for a section. I'm going to make mine a regular section. I'm not going to put a row in just now. I'm going to delete the top section first and we'll start from scratch. Okay, so I've just got a regular section here. In mine today, I'm going to put a row. I'm going to have one side bigger than the other side. Something like this. And in my first one, I'm going to put a call to action that has a call to action button. Obviously put in whatever works for you. Divi comes as standard with all the light grey modules, plenty enough to build just about any site. Here's a call to action. I'm going to pop that one in. Obviously put in what you want your title to say. Put what you want your button to say there. Let's change that to learn more perhaps. Or visit today, something like that. You may have noticed there's no button there. That won't turn up until we put a link in, and I'll put that in a minute. Text field underneath, regular text field. You can align, bold, italicize, bullet list, add media if you want to, and make titles obviously. I'm going to leave mine just like that. I've got nothing real to say about my fictitious city here. If we roll on down a little bit, the link down below. Here's where you can put in a link for your button. As soon as I put something in there, I'll put a hashtag as a placeholder. Obviously put where you want to take your visitors there. And as you can see, that button's now turned up. If you want the whole module to link to something as well, put another link in here. You could probably, in this instance, put the same link in both if you want to take them to the same place, obviously. And always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, leave it in the same window. If you're linking off-site, open it in a new tab. That way your site's going to stay open. Let's just save that and we'll come back and decorate that in a moment. And this side, I'm going to put that image of that young lady and we'll have that one fading in and out. So I'm going to use a regular image module for this today. There it is. And there's that image. For anybody that wants to, a really useful free site for cutting out backgrounds if you've got a picture of a person, it's called remove.bg. That's where I did this. And for website sizes, it's absolutely free and you get it to about 600 pics high, which is perfectly reasonable size for a website. So I'm going to pop that one in there. Great. There we have that one. And down below, you may or may not know this, you can link your image to something as well. I don't particularly want to link, so I'm not going to put anything in there. I don't really want to open this in a light box. She's purely there to sort of fade in and out over the image for a bit of visual effect. So we'll save the changes there. Now if I hover over my box here, there's a gap at the bottom, which is a bit of padding on our row here. I don't want that. I want her sitting right on the bottom there. And also, same with our section. I really want her sitting right on the bottom of the section. So I'm going to go into the row, little green tab for a row. Going to go over to design. I'm going to take any spacing away just from the bottom. So here we are with padding. I'm simply going to put a 0 in there. That's taking a bit of padding away. I know you can't see anything because it's only removing white space, but let's just put a image in the background of the section there and you'll see it more apparent because I'll take the section padding away also. So we'll go into the section now. Blue tab for the section. Same thing. I'm actually going to put a background in so we can see what's going on. And as usual with Divi, you've got great background options. You've got color, gradient, image, video, background pattern or background mask. I'm going to go with a simple image for mine today. And I'll use the same image as I did before. That seems to work okay. Okay, and as you can see, she's kind of floating up in the air there. So I want that to be down on the bottom. So while we're in the section, I'm going to do the same as we did with the row. Design, spacing, bottom padding. Simply going to put a 0 in there. There it is, she's sitting on the bottom, just where I want that. And obviously you can add more padding to the top or wherever if you want to adjust things. Great, well everything's where I want it. I've got to give this an actual class name and also this a class name now, so we can actually target them with some animation CSS in a moment. So to do that, we'll go into each of these. She's fine where she is. I want to do a little bit of decoration on that one. I'm going to go into the image, over to advanced, CSS IDs and classes, and let's call this hero image or hero im. That'll do for me. Hero im. It's kind of my short code for hero section image. Good idea to give your classes names that mean something to you. They need to be unique, but it's great if they mean something to you. That way if you see them in the code, you'll know what's going on. Same with our call to action. I'm going to go over to advanced, and we've got to give this a different one. So let's call this hero text or hero tx. Great. Now a little bit of styling on this one and we're done with the actual build here. I'm going to go into the module. For the background, I'm going to make that dark. In my content tab, if I roll down to background, I'm going to make it black. I'm going to click on the black field. I want to take the opacity down so we can see some of the building behind us but still read that text nicely, something like that. Great. Let's go to the button. All I'm going to do with this, put a little glow effect on it with a bit of box shadow. So I'm going to roll down to the button box shadow after turning the customizer on there. So here we have it right here. I'm going to give it that. You won't see it's dark on dark at the moment. Well, I'm going to change that to a sort of purpley colour to match our image there. So I'm doing the regular button box shadow there. Let's roll on down and just change that to a purple. And it gives it a bit of a glow. And I'll do the same thing to the actual module itself. So if we go down, here's box shadow. Again, and I'll just change that to purple and you'll see a little glow appear around it. And I think I'll finish off by just putting a little white border around so it looks a bit more like the button. Perhaps give it slightly rounded corners there. So if we go up just a little bit, we've got border. I'm going to give it, say, 10 pixels. Just put in the 10, it'll put in the pixels. If you've got the chain checked, it'll do all 4 at once for you. Give it the size you want with border width. I'm going to say maybe 2 pixels. And make it the colour you want. I'm going to make mine white. There we have it. Might take that down to 1 perhaps. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, well we've got everything the way we want it here. We've given it its class names over in our custom CSS here. Let's save our changes and make the animation happen. We'll exit the Visual Builder. Now to do the animation, we need to go to our customizer. To get to your customizer, go down to your dashboard here. Once at your dashboard, go down to Appearance and then Customize. That's going to take us to this page here. As you can see, I've actually set mine as the home page so you can see what's going on when I start the animation. You don't need to do that. Once here, we need to go down to the additional CSS. This is where we're going to write our CSS. Here's what I wrote before. Let's just get rid of that so there's no confusion. Okay, always a good idea to have a title when you write CSS. For a title, just do // *// In between you can write your title or notes. It won't be read as code. So we gave this the class name of hero text. All class names start with a dot or a period. So we're going to say hero tx is what we gave it. I'm going to open and close some curly brackets and we can tell it what we actually want it to do. I want it to animate, so I'm going to say animation, : Then we need to come up with a name for the animation that we want to create. I'm going to use pretty much the same as the class name. It can't be the same, it needs to be unique. So I'm going to just add a T on the end. So it's hero. So I'm going to say hero text A for animation. And I'm going to say I want it to take 12 seconds. Obviously, you make yours as long as short as you want for this particular element. Higher numbers will make it slower. Lower numbers will make it quicker. I want it to be infinite, in other words, to keep on going. And I want it to be fairly smooth, so I'm going to say linear. Great. Well, we've got that in there. Now I need to actually create this animation here. And we're going to do that with keyframes. So I'm going to drop down. And I'm going to say at keyframes. Remember, this code will be down below the video for anybody who just wants to copy and paste it. I'll spell it right. If you don't spell things right with coding, it won't work. So at keyframes, that's the name. So I'm going to just copy that. Now we can open and close some more curly brackets and start building our keyframes. So I'm going to start off at 0%, which is when the page loads, or at second 1. 0%. I'm going to open and close some more curly brackets here. Well, when it comes in, I want it to be invisible initially when the page loads, and I want it to be over to the left-hand side somewhere. So let's say margin left, and I'm going to give it negative 120%, so it'll go to the left by 120% of its actual size there, 120%. As you can see, it's animating like crazy. I want to make that a negative value. And to stop it shrinking and the code and the text inside there doing what it's doing at the moment, I need to offset it by doing the same margin on the right, a positive variant. So I'm going to copy this, put a little semicolon on the end there, drop down, and I'm going to say margin right. And I'm going to make this positive 120%. Now, as you can see, it's maintaining its aspect there. Great. Well, I want it to be invisible when it starts, so I'm going to add another line, semicolon. I'm going to say opacity or transparency. 0 is invisible. So it's going to start out being invisible. As you can see, now it's starting to fade in there. Great. Well, I'm going to copy this several times because I want it to stop when it gets to the left-hand side there, or the right-hand side, I should say. So I'm going to copy this. Let's see. Control-C to copy. I'm going to drop down. Control-V to paste. I'm going to say 20%. Drop down again. 40%, 60%, 80%, 100%. Okay, so at 20%, I'm going to have it margin 0. And you can just put a 0 in there. You don't have to have the percentage for a 0 value. And we'll do the same for this one. And the opacity wants to be fully visible, which is 1. Now I'm going to copy both of these rather than go in and edit them on the next one. And we'll set 40%. Same. And that should give it the pause when I get these in. And at 60%, same. So I'm just going to select this, Control-V to paste. 80%, same again. So as you should be able to see now, it's going to pause in there. That will give them time to read it and hit the button. And obviously change your timing for what works for you. And at 100%, I want it to be back where it started, which is perfect right there. Great. So that one seems to be working now. And we want this young lady here to animate in at a different rate. So for that one, I'm just going to make it a bit longer. So I'm actually going to copy what we've got here, because it's going to be pretty much exactly the same with a different class name and a different animation name. So I'm going to Control-C to copy. I'm going to drop down a couple more. Now we need to change this to Hero Im, which was the class we gave this young lady here. And animation name, let's call it Hero Im A. That way we can create a different animation for it. And I'm going to have this take perhaps 20 seconds. And again, we've got to make some keyframes, and I can pretty much copy this too. So let's just copy this to our first opening bracket there. And I've just got to change that animation name to im there. That should sort us out here. And let's put a curly bracket on the end of our 0 there and start building our keyframes for this particular one. And remember, I need to have a little bracket on the back end there to encapsulate all our keyframes there. Great. So at 0%, what do we want this to do? All I want this young lady to do is fade in and out. I'm not going to scale it, so I'm going to start off at 0, which will be invisible, so she won't be there. And again, I want it to sort of pause when she's in there a little bit, so I'm going to copy this again. And again, I'm going to say 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. The more you do, the more smooth it'll be, but it's up to you. Just play with it, get it how you want. Say at 20%, I want her to be fully visible. And at 40%, fully visible. And at 60%, I think we can probably start fade her out if it's not staying long enough for you. I'll leave that at 0, 80% 0. And finishing off. So there'll be a bit of a gap with her coming in and fading out and then coming in again. As you can see, it's starting to animate over here. So we need to publish our code now. To do that, obviously, pop up to the Publish Now button. And let's go to our page here and refresh. Exit the Visual Builder. And there we have it. There's our little animation. It's going to stop there. We can click on the button, read the text. It'll disappear back out in a second. And our young lady is going to fade in and out at a different timing there. And like I say, that's pretty eye-catching and a great little animation to have on your site. So there you go, guys. There's how to create a little hero section animation using keyframes. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. Don't forget that code's down below for anybody who just wants to copy and paste it. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.